So, hello, Suzanne. Another evening and another episode. So, what are we going to talk about tonight?
Someone asked me, was it Richard Brown? I don't know who asked me to talk about what it was like to be in the comic book and science fiction conventions.
That's right. And we did one on the shows that he was producing, but now you just want to talk about in general?
Well, there were some significant occurrences and paths of action I was kind of pressured into taking.
Pressured by whom?
By the head of creation conventions.
Okay, and then who would that be?
Well, I remember his name, but I don't know what's become of him. I don't even know if he's still alive.
Okay, well, I'm not familiar with that, but so do you care to tell us who it is?
Adam Mullen.
Okay, and this person was producing the what were they, live shows or conventions?
He was the head of creation conventions. They were the only group that held conventions in key cities throughout the United States. Some others I went to were just local companies in other cities who would have a convention only once a year, or there was one that had one 3 times a year.
Okay, so what time period are we talking about?
What time period are we talking about?
Yes.
From 1980 to about 2007.
Okay, so when you said you were pressured, what do you mean by that?
Adam claimed that conventioneers were coming to him with requests or complaints, and he said I had to take some other courses of action to appease those conventioneers.
Well, okay, so I'm a little confused. Who was complaining about what?
I don't know who. I don't know the names of the complainants. I just got the information secondhand from Adam.
Okay, well, once again, I really don't know what you're talking about. Who is complaining? Okay, so you don't know who's complaining, but what are they complaining about?
They didn't care to see me do Underdog, or they didn't care about my doing culture dance. They wanted me to do costumes from subjects that were big among conventioneers, like Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, and let's see, I can't figure out who the other one was.
Okay, so those people had a problem with you showing up there and being Underdog.
I didn't do Underdog all the time when I started making a career of attending these conventions. I had to do them at certain times of the year.
I see. So if somebody showed up dressed as Chewbacca, they would think that that's more dignified than being Underdog?
No, Chewbacca was just a more popular character. Star Wars was a big thing, a big fad then, and Star Trek, Doctor Who, they were big fads too.
Yeah, and all these people that complained about you, are those people that at the time or still today lived in their mom's basement?
I didn't quite understand that.
I'm saying that all these people that complained about you doing Underdog, are those people that mostly lived in their mom's basement?
They're not what?
Never mind. Let's move on. So you don't know who these people were?
No.
Were they by any chance represented in the movie Revenge of the Nerds?
I don't think they were.
Okay. So, but you how would you describe them?
Describe whom?
People who complain about you doing Underdog.
Well, they were just ordinary patrons. They weren't big name stage or movie stars.
Okay, so the people that put the convention together, they asked you not to do Underdog and do different characters.
Adam insisted that Underdog was washed up. He wasn't a big demand anymore.
I see. But you were attendee, right? Like you were one of the you had to pay to attend, or how does that work? Because I don't know anything about it.
I always had to pay like an ordinary attendee. Yes.
So if you paid to enter, then you can dress up as whatever you want.
I remember at the Thanksgiving convention in 1983, during the costume contest. That's the main reason I started going to these conventions, because they had costume contests. Well, when Adam saw that it was my turn, he became kind of somber, and he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again," as though he really wasn't enthusiastic about it.
I see. And you expected the more enthusiasm from the announcers.
Yes.
Okay. So what else do you want to tell us about? What did you change your characters? What did you do? You said you were pressured, but I don't know what that means exactly.
He wanted me to dress up as characters that came from big fads.
And did you do it?
I did some TV series that I didn't delve into that seriously or hadn't bothered with at all. I began watching to look for a costume that I liked and that I could make a duplicate of.
And did you find one?
Did I what?
Did you find the show or a character that you liked?
I found a few.
All right, but I think you need to tell us.
There were two characters from Doctor Who. Some characters that appeared in only one Star Trek episode. I liked their costumes.
You might want to tell the audience who are listening to this what exactly they were, right?
Well, one of them was a woman member of the Enterprise crew in the episode Shore Leave. She fantasized about wearing a medieval princess's outfit, a rich gown with the hennin.
Did you have a name?
I think it was Barrows.
And she only appeared once in the show?
Yes.
So would anyone recognize a character that appeared only once?
Well, when I did make a duplicate of the costume, I would enter it in the costume contest, and I had prepared a commentary for the NC. And
what kind of reaction did you get?
Well, they responded more enthusiastically than they did when I did Underdog. Sometimes I did Supergirl. They liked that.
Did you ever think of dressing up as William Shatner's toupee?
What?
Would you consider making a costume that looks like William Shatner's toupee?
No.
No. Okay. Because that could work for you.
I never hear news anymore of upcoming sci-fi conventions. One of the reasons I was able to go to far distant sites was a publication called the Fandom Directory. And part of it had the year's calendar with the names, dates, and sites of all the conventions that were going to be held that year.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming all that stuff is online now. I don't think anyone's publishing magazines.
No, the directory put out their last edition in 2000. So it's been more than 20 years that that I could find out about upcoming conventions. I never see any mentions of upcoming events in the newspapers.
Yeah, but everything is online now, Suzanne. But you don't have a computer, so that's why you can't see it. I'm guessing all that stuff is now online.
Well, besides, I can no longer afford to go to far distant places like the West Coast or the Midwest.
Well, I'm sure they have local. Well, not now because of COVID, but before that, I'm sure they had them. I mean,
I did go to a few of them because I had the fandom directory at hand.
I see. I mean, I can try looking it up for you if you tell me what it is, or I'm sure Phil can do the same. If you're looking for certain things, although now I'm sure nothing's happening because everything's in lockdown.
I know. I asked Adam that I had the idea for the Dracula fashion show. The very first time I did it was May 15th, 1982 in Phoenix, Arizona. It was part of a convention called Leprechaun.
Okay, you did your Dracula fashion show?
I told Adam about it, and he was enthusiastic about it. So I'd say for several months, it was in big demand, and then almost as suddenly as it had gained enthusiasm, it seemed to fade away.
Well, after you saw it or before?
After I started doing it a number of times.
Well, how did the audience react?
Well, they felt excited that I was doing, such a scary character, and they were fascinated to find out how he actually dressed.
So, who were the characters you did from Doctor Who?
There was a crew member named Nissa, and one of Doctor Who's one of Doctor Who's closest minions was named Romana.
And you dressed as both of them?
Yeah. Part of the time I made fashion show formats out of Star Trek and sometimes Doctor Who, but after I had done them a few times, no one seemed to want them anymore.
Did you ever try maybe to confuse the audience and dress as Pete Townsend instead?
Dress as whom?
Pete Townsend from the band Who, just to confuse them.
I never heard of him.
No? Roger Daltrey, never heard of him? So,
if it was music other than classical, then I wouldn't have found out about it.
See, I think that would be really funny because you can confuse the audience by dressing up as an inappropriate character from a completely different genre, and that might throw them off.
Well, there's no chance of any of that happening now.
Well, not if they don't hold the convention. So you wanted to talk about conventions. So what else is going on with them? What did you do? What interesting things happened? Did you meet anyone interesting?
There were two VIPs that I became reasonably close with. One was Matthew Waterhouse. He was from Doctor Who, and also Walter Koenig, who was Chekhov in Star Trek. He professed an interest in my dance portrayals of Underdog and Supergirl. There are two pictures in my photo albums. It's my turn in the costume contest. I'm doing Supergirl, and he's seated with a couple of other people in the background, and he has his elbow on the table, his hand pressed against his head, and he's smiling.
So did you continue some kind of a correspondence or a relationship with them, or?
No, I just talked with him when he and I happened to be at the same convention. There was also a picture taken of us when I was Underdog and he was just himself. We were holding hands and smiling proudly.
Okay. Was there a chance of you maybe becoming Mrs. Chekhov?
No.
No. But you kept seeing each other at different conventions?
I didn't see him that often.
But he remembered you when you did see him?
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. So how many conventions did you do? I mean, you mentioned that kept going for a couple of decades almost, right?
I think maybe more than 100.
Wow, you did over 100 conventions.
Well, we're talking 1980 to maybe 2007.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a lot. So what was the most interesting thing that happened to you in those 100 appearances?
I'd say the most thrilling convention that I ever went to was in 1997. It was a celebration of the 100th anniversary of Bram Stoker's novel Dracula.
Okay, and then what happened there?
I think that was my greatest Dracula performance. I did the storytelling dance, the Dracula Archives. I did the Dracula fashion show, and I also did the vampire solo. What was really blessed about that event was that the two historians who rediscovered his real story were both there.
Oh, Floresco and McNally?
Yes. When I was finished my third number on that second day, I motioned for them to come up, and they joined me on the stage.
Oh, that's very nice. So that was the most memorable experience in 100 appearances?
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm. Was there one appearance that you had like the best reaction from the crowd?
I can't think of one offhand.
No, but what was the worst experience?
The worst was when I was in New York City for one of the creation conventions. I forget how I dressed, but I was getting ready for my costume contest appearance when someone came over saying that two of creation's minions, those who are regular assistants in New York, were planning to ambush me when it was my turn.
What do you mean by that?
They were going to disrupt my performance and perhaps do something mean to me.
Yeah, what year was that?
I think about 1986.
Did you ever carry like bear spray or mace, for protection?
No.
Because then you could have just sprayed him, and that would have been funny.
They didn't. When this informant came to me, I went to Adam and repeated what the informant had said, and then a while later, either Adam or a representative said, "Everything you feared has been taken care of," so that I was able to do my number without being disrupted.
I see. So you took care of it in a much better way than I would have.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you told us the best and the worst. And anything else that stands out as maybe the most memorable? Besides the people that you mentioned from Doctor Who and the Star Trek, did you meet anyone else that we would know?
I didn't come close to them, but when there were throngs of people who came specifically to see these luminaries, they cheered and screamed and hollered, and but I wasn't enthusiastic about it. I would just I would be in the back of the auditorium or near an entrance. I would look in and just look at the luminary for a couple of minutes and then go away.
Who were the luminaries, as you call them?
George Takei, who played Sulu, DeForest Kelly, who was Dr. McCoy, and and Mr. Spock.
Ah, I see. Okay. Did Mr. Spock wear his ears or no?
Did he wear his costume ears?
Yes.
I couldn't tell because we were. I was way in the back. I could see him, but I looked at him for just a few minutes and then moved on.
Did you ever hear George Takei say, "Oh my"? He would say that occasionally, like in conversation.
Oh my.
Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my.
No.
Let's see. So that's it? Just the Star Trek people?
No, there were some Doctor Who people and some Star Wars people, and sometimes there were stars of popular TV shows. One time Linda Blair was there.
Okay, and why do you think so many people show up to see actors from TV shows? What's the attraction, in your opinion?
There are always vintage comic books, 3D props from television shows and movies, artwork representing some big fads, and then of course the live people.
Well, that's what's there, but I'm wondering, why do you think people actually would pay money to see this?
Well, because they're fans of the featured stars.
Okay, so do you think that those people are important, or more so than anyone else?
No.
Okay, so then why would you show up to see him, right? So why would we show up to see him?
I would go to the conventions that hosted superstars, but I didn't bother to attend the parts of the programs in which they lectured or answered questions, because the only reason I would bother to come to those conventions was that there was supposed to be a costume contest. That was a staple feature. Since
you asked to do an episode on conventions, what was the reasoning for that? What do you want to focus on? Like, what's the impetus for you asking to do it?
I wanted to let people know that I started being in them because they had costume contests, and over time I had quite a few costumes. Not all of them represented characters. I developed a fashion show format. Sometimes I did a featured dance from a TV episode. There was one time not. I think it was a couple of times. I did a belly dance from the Star Trek episode Wolf in the Fold.
Okay, that's interesting. Did anyone ever videotape any of these shows? Or?
I don't know. I have a couple of souvenir snapshots.
I see. So there could be a video or a Super 8 movie somewhere of you doing a belly dance.
Maybe. Doctor Who had a character named Leela. Well, she came from a barbarian planet, but with Doctor Who's influence, the inhabitants turned peaceful. I did a dance depicting her. I was wielding a knife, and so I always had to be very careful not to get too close to anybody. I was on a raised stage.
No, so you actually used the real knife instead of a stage prop?
What?
You used the real knife instead of the fake stage prop knife?
I didn't use the actual knife. I used a knife. It was a real knife that I had brought from home.
Okay, but it was a sharp knife, like a real knife.
Yes, but I was very careful not to get carried away and wound anybody.
Right. So could you say that you don't practice the method acting?
I do or I don't.
Well, if you did, you would actually stab somebody, right? So.
I don't go into method acting as deeply as some people do who call for props or weapons.
Okay, that's good. You don't want to hurt anyone. So, do you have any other interesting stories or anecdotes about the conventions, or?
Oh, there were some rude people who said that I had to give up doing Underdog when this anti-drug crusade came forth because.
Okay, Suzanne, I can't hear you, so you might have to repeat that. No, right for the last couple of seconds, you kind of went quiet. Did you move away from the phone, or?
No, I was manipulating Midnight, my stuffed cat.
Oh, okay, but you must have moved your mouth away from the phone. So can you repeat that about rude people that asked you to stop doing Underdog?
Rude people said they didn't ask me. They told me I should stop doing Underdog because of Nancy Reagan's anti-drug crusade. Underdog was accused of using pet pills as being his source of strength, somewhat like Popeye always has spinach as his source of strength. Otherwise, he's just another ordinary man.
Right. So.
But Underdog always had a level of power all the time. Like Superman and Supergirl, some of these big time superheroes. But he would be subject to weakness and exhaustion when he really expended his energy, and then he had to wait a while for his strength to come back, or if there was a crisis going on, he would have to take this recuperative pill to recharge his batteries, so to speak, in a hurry.
Right. So do you remember who these people were that asked you or told you not to do Underdog?
No, I don't know who they were because I was in a distant place. I didn't know anybody there except the people who organized the convention. And
okay, so I was just curious. Maybe one of the names was Karen.
Who's Karen?
Well, I thought maybe one of the people who told you, but But I guess not. So, all right. So what?
No, I didn't know. I didn't know anybody there, and the people who made the complaints didn't tell me their names.
Oh, okay. So the last one you did was in 2007, you said?
I think it was.
Okay. And where was that?
I think it was New York, but it wasn't Creation Convention that put it on. I think it was something called Big Apple Conventions.
And different people involved.
Yes.
Okay. So you did what did you say called Creation Conventions, Big Apple Conventions? What else do you remember? Any other names?
There was Dragon Con in Atlanta. I mentioned Leprechaun in Phoenix, and there was the Dallas Fantasy Fair in Dallas, Texas.
Let's see. So you traveled all over the United States doing this?
Well, one time Creation Conventions was supposed to have one of their things in Honolulu, and I was all set to go to it, but my mother discouraged me.
Why is that?
I have never been to Hawaii.
Well, that would have been a good excuse to go.
Yeah, I thought I was going to do Spectrum the Ghost King for that, but I was thwarted from going.
Well, that's too bad. So you never went to Hawaii because of that.
Right. I think some of these really distant places that I went to, if it was for a convention or once in a great while a performing arts celebration, I went to those far distant places in order to accomplish something. I don't see any point in going someplace really far away unless I can do something and make a significant accomplishment.
And what that would be what? What would you consider a significant accomplishment?
Well, in 1997 with the Dracula convention, it was built around Dracula. I did an extensive program, and the historians witnessed it.
Okay, well, that's pretty good. So you at the time you had a job, I'm assuming, like a full-time job?
No, not at that time. I didn't.
But you managed to make enough money to cover your expenses, because it's not cheap to travel all over the place and build costumes. It takes a lot of money and time.
Yes.
So you committed not only your time, but also a lot of financial resources.
Yes.
Do you feel after all those years of doing it, there was something that you feel proud of? Or is this something that how do you feel about it?
Well, they've all faded away.
Okay, but I mean, sometimes you get a lot of press, right? And you get some newspaper articles, and you invited to different TV shows.
There was also a kind of snobbery among the different convention companies. They seem to have set up the masqueraders into different classifications of people. It makes me think of the old-time caste system in India. When you registered for a costume contest, you would be asked, "Have you ever won anything before?" And then they would rank you as an apprentice, a journeyman, a master. A kind of snobbery. And when I told them about the successful conventions I had with the Creation Company, they said awards won by Creation conventions don't count.
So even amongst the nerds, there's like a level of snobbery and abuse, and bullying.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. And how did that make you feel?
Hurt.
Well, did you tell them that or no?
Well, what was wrong with Creation conventions? Why do you say that any awards I won there count for nothing?
Well, I don't know much about it, so I'm just asking, did you voice your opinion to them?
Yes, I did. In so many words as I just did.
And what was the response?
I still had to be classified according to their system.
So you didn't like that?
No.
So do you have anything else to add to this, or?
Well, Adam said that the more flashy a costume was, the more the conventioneers liked it. It was during those times that I began making more ostentatious costumes.
What would you think if you took all that money and that you spend on the travel and the hotels and the costumes and you put it in a stock market back then? Do you think that would have been a better investment?
I would not have invested in the stock market.
No, why not?
Because it's too treacherous. You hear too many times of one stock being prosperous for maybe just a couple of days, then it drops drastically down, and I just didn't think that the stock market was practical for me.
Okay, so after all the years of doing it, all the time and money invested, what did you hope to achieve by doing it? What was your goal? What did you hope to achieve, and did you get there?
I wanted to be respected as the living embodiment of Underdog, because before I came along, there were no other live impersonators. So
do you feel you accomplished that goal, or are you still working on it?
I think I have through more circuits than just the conventions.
Mm-hmm. Such as?
Being on local TV shows. Oh, yes. This month marks 15 years since I was on Jimmy Kimmel Live. He requested that I dress as Underdog.
I see. But do you put any importance in your many appearances on the Howard Stern show? Did that help at all?
Not at all.
But it's possible that if you didn't appear on his show, you wouldn't be on Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, boy.
Right? I mean, sometimes bad things lead to good things, but by accident or whatever.
Because I'm still being tormented about Howard Stern by discourteous people.
Even today?
Yes.
But he doesn't really have the audience anymore. He doesn't do anything like what he used to. He's pretty much mainstream, kind of like whatever you want to call it, vanilla.
Yeah.
So if you appeared on the show today, it wouldn't be the same type of show. You probably could appear. He doesn't use any bad language or anything like that.
Well, it also vexes me when I'm in parades or at the end of this month, I'll be in a ceremony at the beach. It's not a parade. It vexes me when I dress in a costume other than Underdog, and people still yell, "Hey, hi, Underdog!" Or, "Woo, look, it's the Underdog Lady!" I love that nickname because Howard Stern invented it while he was corrupt.
Okay, but he did tell him to clean up his act, and I think he did. Do you think he listened to you, and that's why he's doing what he's doing now?
If I did have anything to do with his cleaning up his act, or for that matter, for his 1992 late night TV show being canceled after I'd been forced to appear in a travesty of a banquet episode, there was no official acknowledgement of me, and I never received any awards or any acknowledgments along those lines.
Would it make you feel better to know that him and his wife rescue a lot of stray cats?
Mr. Shuley told me about that.
Oh, so how do you feel about that?
It's nice. I love cats.
Does that make up for any of the pain that he caused you? Because he's saving cats now.
He hasn't spoken one-on-one to me saying, I hope you'll feel better about me now, Suzanne, because I'm doing something with cats which you like so much. I'm rescuing them. He hasn't spoken directly to me.
Well, that could be something you can reconnect on and talk about cats, right?
No, it's too treacherous.
Even if what if you ask them to donate money to a homeless cat?
There's no way I can talk one-on-one with him because I have no phone number. I have no computer connection.
I see. So even with the cats, you don't want to do it.
Right.
Okay. All right. So should we add anything to the conventions, or do we cover everything we need to cover?
It's very unlikely that I'll ever be in another convention unless it had a really specialized theme or a significant site, and I would probably have to be asked by the people in charge, please come and participate.
I see, because it's probably going to be a while before they can hold another convention. But you're not saying no. It's just not very practical right now.
Right.
Okay. Well, let's hope that soon enough you maybe do one more, just for the old times' sake.
I'm lucky to have this beach ceremony on Friday the 28th.
Okay, so that's Friday the 28th of May?
Yes.
Okay, in case anyone wants to show up to see you, that's Friday, May 28th. What time and where?
It starts at 11 a.m. It's in Ocean City, New Jersey. It's on the 9th Street beach, right next to the music pier. It's a ceremony to open the ocean and the beach officially to the summer tourists. There are other kinds of entertainments. Now, they always make sure that at 12 noon, some top city brass turns this large crafted key, maybe a quarter turn, a half turn, I don't know what. But once they stop turning, the beach is officially open, and then that's where I come in. As Shelley, I lead a procession into the ocean. So that's why I sometimes call this person's plunge. These people, some with briefcases and all of them with the fancy business wear, a couple of them carrying U.S. flags, march slowly toward the water with me a good distance ahead of them, beckoning, leading them in and waving my shell. I step into the ocean ankle deep and then step aside so that the business people can get through, and they plunge waist deep into this water, which is still rather cold.
I see. So then this is a tradition started by Mr. Seufer, or does it go before him?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. But he retired, so somebody else is organizing it.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So May 28th, Ocean City, New Jersey, the opening of the season with Suzanne as Shelley, the South Jersey Shore Mermaid. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, Suzanne, for another informational talk, and we'll talk soon.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.